Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel and this amazing video. I'm Aditya. In this video, we will see some amazing Next.js concepts. So we will see server actions, then we will see some memo from React, and we will use the example of link preview that I have also created a video in Vue. So if you haven't checked that video, also do check that video. I'll put the link in the description, but we'll do the same thing in Next.js project and try to see the server action method and React memo. So without any further ado, let's begin. To begin with, we have here the Next.js project and with app router next 14. So here I have the page component, or you could say like this home page, which is server side page. And this here I have the preview container, which is the client side component. So this component over here, this text area, and when I just paste this, let's say text over here, whatever you will see, this is our preview container. Now going back over here inside the preview container, we got the text area and we got the card component. The text area component is pretty straightforward. Here we got the text box with some fancy other UI in that, like this one over here. And this I have taken from Tailwind UI, so you can get this text box over there. Need to listen to that on change event and the value just so we can handle the use state from the parent component. So I have these things passed as props over here. Going back to preview container, these two things we got over here, which is the text and set text, which is the use state. Then we got the content and the set content. This will be the card content that we will get after we get the link preview. Now, the most important thing is that currently I have pasted this value. Now, when I'm typing this as a one character after the other, I just need to make sure that there is some debounce or that request doesn't happen on every keystroke. It happens after a certain interval. So React comes with this built-in hook. This built-in hook allows you to defer the value and make the change based on that deferred value. So here I have this deferred text, use deferred value comes from React, and to that we pass the state function, whatever use state we want to pass. So in this case, the text. But on text area, we bind this text over here. We don't bind the deferred value. Now next, this we will pass it to the use effect dependency array so that whenever this value changes, we make request. Now here, I'll just remove this again. This is for testing. Now here we have two options. Either we write a backend API with next API route actions and have that preview fetched using that API content. That works without a problem, but we need to make a fetch request. We will need to create a route action. We need to pass the request as like a JSON body or whatnot, and all those things. Next handles this with ease with using server actions. Now server actions, if I show you over here, they have a pretty good documentation here. So all we need a async function with use server either written inside it, if that function is written inside the component like this, or if it's written in some other file, then just at the top level, we just need to say use server. Now here also, as these components are client component, that's totally fine. Text area, even the card component, which will go in a moment. All these are client components. That's not a problem at all. Now, what's going to happen is that with server action, you can attach the server action, which is just the server side function. The function runs on the server, and Next.js automatically gives that API route for you. I'll show you how that works. So this function will run on the server, so you can run DB queries or any query you like. Now this, ideally, they put it on form as an action, but it's not a compulsion. Like you can call this server action within a client component inside a use effect or inside some other function or wherever you like. So here, if we go down to call it under the use effect, you will see like how it is called. Like just inside the use effect, they have another function, which is update views. And here we got increment views, which is actually the server action. Now the same principle will apply here. So what we are going to do is we will have the use effect, which runs on the deferred text. First, we will make sure that the content, because what we need to make sure is that URL exists and only send that content with URL if needed, or just the URL, whatever we like, to the server action so that it can preview the text. If it doesn't exist, we just cut it off. So here I have the fetch preview function. As it's an async function, this is not the server action function. This is just the normal client side function. As this is the async function, I have written it within the use effect because the get preview, this is actually the server action I got. This is an async function. I need to await for it. That's why I need to wrap the parent function with async, nothing else. Now here I will pass the URL that is extracted using the regex, which is the built-in JavaScript mechanism. I will have some states set pending just to pass to the card component, which we'll see again in a moment. Now here inside the get preview function over here, I'm using this open graph scraper package, which allows you to get the OG tags and even the HTML of the page. So I have consoled it over here so you can see how it looks like. So here, if I go to the other tab, there you go. So you got the HTML of the page, and then you got the metadata about the page and so on. So within that, we are interested in this result because that's where we got the OG tags. So we will go back over here, extract the result over here, and also make sure that there is no error, then only move forward. We can also pass the timeout because sometimes the URL might take time to scrape. So we just make sure that it'll take some time to, and then get the preview. Currently I've given the 50-second timeout, but you can reduce it if you like. Now here, I'm again making a check that the content has URL because I want this function to be pretty flexible so that it not just take URL, but also the chunk of text, and then extract the URL from there and pass it down to this function over here, which is OGS. So we get the OGS from Open Graph Scraper. This is just the type success result. To that, we pass this URL and the timeout. We can comment this for now. And then we check for, okay, if the result exists, great. If there is no error, great. Then we get from that data only the result, and we need to give this extra type. If you're using TypeScript, if you're using JavaScript, may not need it, so that TypeScript can understand, okay, what's the shape of the object that it's gonna get. So here we just pass the OG title, this OG description, and image URL. So here we are gonna get the array. So I'm just gonna pass the first OG image URL. If there is an error, just console the error or do whatever you like and just return some object. Now this server action, if we go back over here again, and if we see the network tab to see how it looks like. So now here, if you notice within the headers, it goes to next action. It just makes the request to this URL endpoint, and under the hood, there's an API endpoint. So we don't create it, but Next.js handles that for us. And the good thing is this code runs only on server. It will never run on client. So if I go back over here, this function over here, get preview, will always run on server. And there are two proofs of this. Number one, when I console this over here, you will see it got consoled in the terminal. So that's number one proof. Number two, whenever you're scraping a URL, if you scrape straight from the browser, because under the hood, this OG scraper is just going to scrape a URL for you. So if you run this on client, you might get, or most probably you will get, the CORS error, because from browser, it's very difficult to fetch or scrape the website content. But from the server, it's much easier. So you can also run here database functions or anything you like, because as this runs on server. And now moving forward, we will get the content. Now, generally, when you're running this server action like this, as it's a asynchronous function, you'll get the content and you can just pass it to the state over here, to the use state. That's great. And then that goes over here to the card component, which is as a prop, which is content and pending. So within the card component over here, we have memoized that component because this text area, this within the preview container, the change in this text is going to re-render this card component unnecessarily because this is a use state at the parent level. So to avoid that, we just want to render this card component only when there is a change in the props of it. So going back over here, we got the simple card component with the image tag. I'm not using the image component because then we need to handle the domains whitelisting and all those things. So I'm just keeping it very simple, just image tag or img tag. And then for the pending thing, we have some animation over here, then the title and the descriptions that we get. And that's it, actually. So this is just the type for the link preview that I have just created, which will have the message, whether it's success or not. If there's a message, that means it's error. If there's no message, that means it's all good. These three keys that I want to transform into. So overall, this is the component over here. So going back again, we can use next server actions as a normal function, and then whatever content we get, we can either use it either inside the assigning to the use state, or we can reload that entire page using something known as revalidate. So here, if we just look for within the documentation for revalidate over here, so here you can, whenever you want to reload that page, you can just do revalidate path so that it will reload that specific path or reload that specific page or go to that specific page, or you can only If you're making a fetch request with next, there you can pass tags. You can always revalidate the tags or just the data, and then you'll get the fetch data from the server. So this is actually a cool thing. And also you've got redirect, of course, so that you can redirect completely to a new page. So pretty good thing, I would say. Let me know in the comment section what's your take on this server actions. How do you like it? How are you using it? So that's all in this video. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you feel this video is worth sharing with your network, please do share with your network. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel. We also got the Discord server, so I'll put the link in the description below. Make sure that you join that. So see you in the next video. Till the next time, goodbye.